Welcome back, everybody. This is DavidXRPLion. It's been a little bit since I've been able to put out a video. I've been inundated working on the quantum equations, which, whenever I'm able to reveal any of that information, absolutely phenomenal. We're up to over 20 equations right now that have not been seen, have not been known, but they all relate to quantum, the XRP on the XRPL, QFS protocols, and they reinforce everything that we're seeing, which is absolutely phenomenal. But I told you the Lord gave me a download and requested I do a gematria. And the primary phrase was Liberation Day. Now, as most of you probably know, he's declared April 2nd to be Liberation Day. And we're gonna talk about that. And I think what you're going to see is going to be quite phenomenal. So over here on the left-hand side, I have the gematria phrases. We're then going to go over the narratives. And this is really why I want to do the video. The narrative is so important because just looking at what I type in, you need to hear it because there's so much more. And this isn't going to be an hour-long video. So just relax on that. I know how much you guys like information. So this was our primary phrase. And the first selection he had me make was gift from the Creator. Number 2, it won't be long now. Number 3, rapture. It had to be this way. Number 4, the clock strikes 12. Number 5, 50-day countdown. Number 6, the underlying meaning. Now this big gap here relates to the narrative on the other side, so you'll understand why there's a big gap. Number 7, it's interesting, number 7 is XRP. XRP, the stage is set. Number 8, the absolute truth. Number 9, 3 days of darkness. Number 10, first to be raptured. Number 11, stacks and stacks and stacks. Number 12, supernatural phenomena. And number 13, we're on a mission from God. And I have to tell you, it's so interesting how all of this works. Because I was just going to throw this out there and let you guys figure it out. But the Lord had me hold back. This last phrase right here, we're on a mission from God, it was showing up all day today in posts on Twitter. So it's just a confirmation of being in the right place. So let's go to the next slide. Now here's where it gets really, really cool. Because when he gives me these gematrias, and I'm, again, I don't just go to one page, like if I went to the gematria and typed in Liberation Day and had it calculate it, I'll just go to one page and look down the page and cherry pick what the phrases are. This is a process where he takes me and has me look at every single phrase from top to bottom, and then he shows me what phrase to select. So then when I select, like this one, it takes me to another page, and then we start the process all over again. Sometimes it takes several minutes to see it, but because I've done this so many times with him, he always surprises me because, I don't try to get out in front of him. I don't try to guess where he's taking it. I've tried to do it without him, and you're not supposed to do this by yourself. You're actually supposed to be over 40 years old. You're supposed to do it with a rabbi because it's about protection. But see, since I'm doing it directly with him and he's my rabbi, my father, my guide, I just lean into him and he reveals the right selection. It just literally comes off the page. And because I've been doing this so long, I can almost anticipate what's going to come up sometimes, and I'll be almost like looking for something, and then he'll have me select something completely out of the blue. And I'm like, I don't even question. I just like, oh, okay, let's go that direction. So that's what happens with each one of these. So there was literally 13 pages, separate pages, that I had to go through to find the correct phrase that he wanted to reveal. So the first one, gift from the Creator. That's pretty obvious. No narrative or decode required for that. Number 2, it won't be long now. No narrative or decode for that. We know we're about ready for the EBS to kick off. The quantum financial system has been activated by President Trump. Everything is in live mode. And we're simply waiting for the EBS announcement so that way we can all get home and hunker down for 13 days. And during that time, see the disclosure of what's taken place with the movies, and then also get the information for how we prepare to go to the Redemption Center. Because that's our final act. Rapture, it had to be this way. Now, if you've been following long enough, you know that the Lord told me that the rapture was sold to us by the Church, the Vatican, the Cabal, the Rothschilds, who were the bankers to the Vatican. And they helped dictate the culture and the message that went out. So they got everybody to think that Christians were going to be raptured and go to heaven, and Jesus was going to rule for 1,000 years. God said, that was never my plan, David. My plan was never to rapture Christians to heaven. My plan has always been to rapture evil to hell. And I want to make sure I set that foundation, because there's a lot of new people that don't have time to go back or choose not to go back to look at all the messages that have been put out and understand what God has been revealing and had me post and do videos on. See, none of this content, I don't make it up by myself. It's all directed by him. He has the final say so. It doesn't go out until he says so. And how many times have I gone to try to get something out, and he's like, Dave, just wait, just wait, just wait. And then when I finally get the go-ahead, there was another situation or an incident that he wanted to have in the video, which was very, very important. Okay? So he said, rapture, to send evil to hell. The clock strikes 12. 12 equals 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 days. Plus 1 for the current day equals 4. And it just happens to be line 4. See, I don't put these things in this order. This is just part of the process. My notebook keeps track of everything. So we got a count for 4. And now number 5 says 50-day countdown. So we have 50 days. So the next one, interestingly enough, is the underlying meaning. And the meaning is 4 plus 50 equals 54 days. 5 plus 4 equals 9 days. Look at lines 4 and 5. 4 and 5. They equal 9. April 2nd, which is Liberation Day, plus 9 equals 4/11/25. That happens to be a Friday. 411. What's 411? It's information. So that's telling us this day, this Friday on 4/11, there's some information that's very, very important. Something important is going to happen on that day. So now we have to go back to April 2nd, and we add 54 days, and it takes us right to Memorial Day, 5/26/25. And how many of you know that Trump has already established that starting on Memorial Day through July 4th, he's called it our celebration of 250 years. Now, Memorial Day to July 4th is 39 days. There's that 9 again. 12, or 3 plus 9 is 12. 12 is the number for government. So something is already going to be all done so we can enjoy this 39 days. 39 days happens to be 1 month and 8 days. There's another 9. So as I was listening to what he was telling me, I went back and I highlighted all the 9s, which is kind of cool. Number 7. Think of number 7 like in Genesis. You can kind of think of these as Genesis. On the 7th day, what did God do? He rested. And he looked at everything that he had created and he said it was good. So XRP, the stage is set. And I was kind of caught back by that. I wasn't sure where he was going to go with that. And I never do until it's all done. And when we were working, when he was giving me the narrative, and this is what a lot of people truly don't understand, XRP in its plan and purpose and how God created it before time began, its purpose was to defeat and eliminate the cabal, the foreign bankers, the Rothschild, the Khazarian mafia. It wasn't about cross-border payments. That was just part of the narrative made up by the Bitcoin people to keep everybody distracted. And then the narrative seemed to work to keep XRP camouflaged. So understand XRP's plan and purpose. And the real reason it's here is for the future of our new republic's financial system. It's 100% gold, asset-backed. And we're supported by 208 other BRICS nations, having all come together in one accord to leave the fractionalized fiat money system. See, that money system is dead. It's over with. When Trump had that joint session TV appearance on the 4th of March, that was signaling that the restoration of our republic, which started 236 years earlier on March 4th, 1789, when the first republic was established by Congress, was restored. We took it back. We took it back away from the Khazarian mafia, the foreign bankers, the Rothschild system, which was there purposefully to steal, kill, and destroy us. That was their end plan, that they would have us all wiped out by 2025. Well, God had a different plan, and it's his plan that survived, that's successful. And Trump was chosen through the alliance to be the one to deliver the message. And lots of times the message isn't clear unless you understand the narrative, the strategically orchestrated reality awareness war, SORA. There's over 200,000 cast of characters that are playing a role, and a lot of them have an end date. Their contract expires, and when it does, they won't be here anymore. Evil has been eradicated from the earth. And I'm kind of prefacing that because there's some things coming up here that may be hard for some people to understand. But the way God explained it to me when he called me over to be his messenger on Twitter to reveal the fact that there was a plan to steal XRP from the retail holders, he told me, he said, Dave, nothing from the old system comes into my new system. Now, you can believe that or not. I'm not here to debate it. Everything he has told me has been 100% correct. It's been vetted by third parties, and I don't take any credit for it, so just understand. When I glorify him and I carry his banner for him to be recognized, it's not about me. I'm the one that cried out in 2004, stood in the gap for mankind, that we needed more time to come to know his love. That's what I did. And he said, Dave, I got a job for you. I need you over here on Twitter. I need you to post what I want to reveal to everybody. That's what I do. He says, do this, I do it. And you guys know what happens. It gets confirmed. I think one of the most recent ones was when he had me post about the QFS system and how employees can be paid at the end of the day. That's biblical, by the way. And a day and a half later, Brad Garlinghouse comes out and says, oh, by the way, I've been thinking about it, and sure, we can pay. People can be paid, through the XRPL in the QFS at the end of every day, or they could be paid every hour, every minute, or even every second. The system can handle all of that. See, so I'm not just saying, God isn't revealing information just to take up space. He's trying to help prepare everybody for what's coming. And he's taken me behind the curtain, behind the veil, and shown me everything that's taking place. Now, there's a lot of that information I can't reveal. He doesn't want it revealed right now. Some of it I have some leeway with, he said. And what he's given leeway to is coming up in a new video with regards to XRP, the XRPL, and QFS. Things you need to know about. But I know how long it's going to take us to get our humanitarian projects up and running. I know how the system works, how money moves. I mean, that's how I know about the RLUSD, which is now the RLUSDG, cold-backed, and how that process works and what its purpose is, which is only short-term for about 3 years, like the banks, until people realize they don't need to pull money off of their quantum access account, which by transferring it into a bank, you just create another step in the accounting process. But it won't be very long before the banks aren't necessary anymore. And once that happens, the stablecoin for Ripple, which is the chosen global stablecoin, by the way, I'll just tell you that ahead of time, it won't be needed. You just use your quantum debit card for everything, or your quantum phone or your quantum laptop. You just do everything directly. You need to pay a babysitter, just use your phone. It's done. It's all done through XRP as the master key. But XRP was never about cross-border payments. XRP manages the global transaction network on the XRPL. But enough of that. I don't want to get diverted too much. The absolute truth. He is the keeper of all his promises. And there's no doubt to that. Absolutely no doubt. And that's exactly what the alliance is following. That's exactly what Trump is following. And a lot of the stuff that I've been putting out there over the years is now coming full circle, and they're trickling it out. 3 days of darkness. So if we take the 11th and we add 3 days, it takes us to the 14th. And I believe the 14th, let me take a quick look. The 14th is a Monday. Something's up. And again, I'm not trying to project dates and times and everything else. It's about events. Okay? But we are on a timeline. I was doing this in the XRP video at the same time, and the Lord reminded me of something, and I went back and looked at it, and sure enough, information that he revealed matched exactly with the day the SEC dropped their appeal. Exactly 1 month and 25 days, which was a historical pattern for information coming out in the lawsuit. You can go see my post on that, but that'll be included in the new video. First to be raptured, the first of evil being raptured begins. So, in essence, it will be live at that point. Because remember, when a lot of this happens during these 3 days of darkness, they don't want us to see what's going on to protect us. Because it's not, think of it this way, when people get raptured, they just disappear. They're gone. They don't go down to the police station. They don't get rounded up by the National Guard, and then they take them to a spot and off they go. No, it's just a global event, and they're just gone. They don't want us to see that. That's why we're going to be told to stay in our homes. You know, we're not over across the street at John's house, you know, throwing back beers in the garage, walking the dog around the streets. No, that's why they're rounding anybody up that's outside their home. And I share this because I have such a heart for everybody, and I don't want people being foolish and not understanding the gravity of the events that are taking place. It's like he had me put the word out about the paid social influencers, and they've been testing them with disinformation to see how many of them will just pick it up because they're paid to put it out. Well, who shows up in Twitter space the other day? Someone I tried to help in the very beginning, BitBoy Crypto. And I'm not going to go into any long discussion on that, but the Lord told me that every single paid influencer is audited. They're tracking the money. They want to know who they're associated with. Most of them have a history of nefarious deeds, whether they're trying to scam people through investment advice or giving them some hope that, you know, as we go in. Well, they're not. Let me back up. They don't talk about QFS. They don't talk about the XRP buyback. They don't talk about God. They don't lead with anything about our future. They just talk about the here and now, how they're going to help people use life insurance to make a fortune, how they have somebody that can help them or will invest their crypto for them, making outrageous returns. I mean, that right there, that's enough to be convicted by the SEC. But see, they don't think about that because they think about the Wild West. But see, God sees everything. The Alliance sees everything. They know who's scamming it. But see, they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it because they want the money. They don't realize it's going to be a life-ending event for them because they're not going to make it through the Redemption Center. So it's kind of like, okay, these people are being prepared for the first rapture. And that happens during the 3 days of darkness. The last and final purge or cleanse happens when people show up at the Redemption Center and they don't make it through. Okay, so I'll move on. Stacks and stacks and stacks. So, Lord, what's that? Because I'm thinking, oh, money. Because no, Dave. He goes, that's the number of people that are going to roughly be raptured off the earth. Now, I will tell you that there's racks. Let's see. I gotta look over here at my notes. I won't get too ahead of myself. There's racks and bands and stacks. A rack is 1,000. A band is 10,000. And a stack is 100,000. So I took the smallest number, which was 1,000 for a rack. I raised it to the third power and multiplied it by 3. And this 3B number is rough estimate of how many people are going to be raptured. Now, what's interesting about this, when I did this, so 3 billion from 8 billion, 37.5%. You've seen on other videos where I said, and I've had this confirmed more than once by reliable third parties. I said 37.5% to 50% of the population isn't going to be here. And this is where we're going to have all the used homes that Trump's going to sell for 50 cents on the dollar, all the used cars, 50 cents on the dollar. That's what that's all about for the 18 to 26-year-olds to buy. And it was just one more situation where we got confirmation. Number 12, supernatural phenomena. That means it was not man's doing. It was done beyond the capability of man. And this is where we're talking Space Alliance, Galactic Federation, things that we'll come to know about. And then lastly, we're on a mission from God. He's been 100% in control since time began. This was his plan before time began. He already knows the outcome. And that's why we've all been saved. That's why we're having the opportunity to go into our new restoration, because evil's been defeated. The devil's been defeated. He was defeated on December 21st, 2020, which was the midpoint of the 7-year tribulation that he showed me that started on July 11th, of 2017. right after Trump's recapitulation tour. So let's go to the next slide. And again, I'm a forensic analyst. I've been in finance my entire life. I've worked with professional sports management company in San Diego while I interned in college. One of my football clients when I was there, I did all of his accounting, Miles McPherson, who is the senior pastor at the Rock Church in San Diego. I've mentioned this before. There I had the opportunity to meet the gentleman who discovered Elijah One, and because the partner wasn't there, they went with another firm to manage him. But I spent 30 minutes talking to the gentleman that discovered him. I'll never forget that. But let's take a look at the red ones. And I color-coded them so you could see them. And again, I don't put these things in this order. So all the red ones, gift from the creator, rapture had to be this way, 50-day countdown, XRP, the stage is set, 3 days of darkness, stacks and stacks, we're on a mission from God. It's like a story, it's just telling us. And then when we go over to the black, the even numbers, it won't be long now, the clock strikes 12, the underlying meaning, the absolute truth, first to be raptured, and then we've got supernatural phenomena. I never know where this is going to go, and this is why it's so wonderful when he puts me on one of these to do it, because it just reveals the storyline. And that happened, right off the bat with the information about the buyback. So let's take a look at the last one here. Why is April 2nd so important? We went over a bunch of stuff, but I think this is really going to hit home for you. 233 years ago, April 2nd, 1792, Congress passed the Coinage Act, and this established the United States Mint. Yesterday, 3/27/25, 25 states are about to enact laws enabling states to mint their own coins. The moment I saw that on Twitter today, it was just another one of those things confirming itself with regards to everything that's already identified in Nasara, in Jasara. See, one of the things that takes place is after they reindex gold and they adjust it, if a person has gold or chooses to buy gold at that time, which would just be a wholesale commodity, roughly $35 to $50 an ounce, we can make our own coins. Now we have to go to the official Treasury coin mints to have it done. They take our gold, they weigh it, they assay it, they figure out exactly what we have, and then there's a standard for producing gold coins. Have to be a certain weight, certain measurement, just like they did with this Coinage Act, which is, again, these things are adding up if you can put the pieces together. Now, what you're seeing below is information I just got, and that is the Global Alliance is directing Trump to have everything done before May 26, which is Memorial Day. Now, what is everything? That's the EBS. That's the 3 days of darkness. That's the 10 days of disclosure. That's the instructions giving us our 800 number, personalized 800 number, by the way, to call, schedule our Redemption Center appointment, getting to the Redemption Center, passing through the scan because we have a good heart. We're not harboring offense, no ill will, resentment, bitterness. We're being given access to our Quantum Access account, where all of our bank accounts are being mirrored right now. Our retirement accounts, no brokerage for equities, only retirement account, whether it's stocks, gold, bonds, doesn't matter. That's all being mirrored presently right now. Now, one of the things I've mentioned, but I don't think people are really understanding this, banks and credit unions, the moment the EBS goes off, the moment that goes off, do you know why the ATMs don't work? Why the credit cards don't work? It's because your bank balance, your credit union balance, is now zero. Zero. Why? Because that was all fiat money. Fiat money is worthless. Now, they are going to allow us to spend it because the Federal Reserve, not as the Federal Reserve because they're defunct, but they're applying everything that they've taken in the executive orders, 13818, 13848, and applying it against that fractionalized fiat currency. So think about it. There isn't going to be $1 in a bank or a credit union when we're all sitting home. Not $1. Where is it? Sitting in your Quantum Access account. If you have joint accounts, it's split. Half of it goes into your wife's account, half of it goes into your account. Everything on the quantum financial system is individual. That's why Trump signed the executive order that got rid of the 50% divorce claim. They want people accountable for themselves, and they don't want somebody else messing it up for them. even to the tune you've heard me say. There is the option to take a spouse with you to the Redemption Center. But should you choose to do that, they will sign your non-disclosure, and there's nothing to keep them from breaking your non-disclosure, and you lose all your money. This is serious, people. I mean, a spouse could just decide to get back at another spouse for all the years of pain and suffering, whether it's a husband or a wife. So my suggestion is you go by yourself. Why? Because we have to present ourselves by ourselves for ourselves. But get yourself prepped and ready first. Got to get right with God. It's number one. I mean, there isn't anything more important than that right now. And once you know you got that taken care of, after you read the Beta Satan by John Bevere, get your heart cleaned up, then you're getting your projects mapped out. You're getting your summaries for your foreign currencies and your bonds addressed. Because when you make the 800 call, you have to account for everything that you're bringing with you. So you don't tell them, oh yeah, I got a couple dinar. No, they're going to be asking specifics. What's the denomination? How many do you have? What's the next denomination you have? How many do you have? So they have a tally. So when you walk in the door and you don't have what you said you had, or you have more than what you said you had, bad news, people. You're not a person filled with truth. And a lot of people are gonna blow it with just that. But that's part of what I've been told they want all taken care of before May 26th. They don't want anything hanging over our head. They want us in that window where we're just in our 90-day NDA period, and we're just praising and thanking the Lord for everything he had already did, and we're enjoying May 26th through July 4th. So what does that mean? Let's back up for a second. From the 2nd, well, hold on just a second. Let me work something out here. Okay, it's 54 days. That's it. So if you cut that in half, just make it 30 days. You got 30 days or less to get your act together, get your stuff cleaned up, let go of the world. You know, just like when the angels came to rescue Lot and his wife, and God has hammered that message. Do not look back, meaning don't set your heart so that you're loving what the foreign bankers provided you with and not where God has taken you. And I don't know how to say that any clearer. You keep your eyes on him. You look straight ahead. You don't look to the left. You don't look to the right. You don't worry about who's on first, second, or third. You don't worry about what Trump is doing, what he's not doing, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a post I did back on, sorry about that, I don't hate when this goes up, July 17th of 23. God gave me a vision about something called Operation Clean Sweep. And then this week, Kash Patel comes out. Trump says, Kash Patel, FBI director, he's launching an unprecedented offense to dismantle corrupt structures that have poisoned our nation. Operation Clean Sweep. I almost fell out of my chair. It was just one of those things that was still out there that didn't have confirmation of, and it's underway. And look at the words. Okay, massive purge, traitors removed, destruction. This is what the Lord said was happening. Okay, this isn't about patty cake time. This isn't about. I mean, if you're not doing the work right now, I don't know if you're going to make it through. And I'm not being heartless or cold. Believe me, I've already shed enough tears over everybody, and I want everybody to make it through. But you got to do the work. You got to put away religion, and you have to seek out the Father through the Spirit, His Spirit. Do you know that you were created to be a temple for the Lord? It says it right in the Word. And that temple was to house His Holy Spirit. Why? Because the Holy Spirit's the comforter. The Holy Spirit is the one, when we have questions, will go before the Father on our behalf and seek out the deep places and return with an answer. It says He will return. That's a promise. Now in the beginning it may not be super fast, but see, it's a test. You have to show that you, like in Daniel, the 21 days. That was a test to see if Daniel was going to give up, knowing that God was going to do exactly what he had praised him for. And what happens? Remember, the angel got into a battle with the king of Persia, principality, and Michael had to be called in to settle the dispute. And then he was able to proceed on his way to deliver the message. And of course, Daniel is just distraught. He can hardly hold himself together. And the angel's having to tell him, be strong. Like, right now, you got to be strong. You can't be buying into all this fake crap. You got to know that everything that God did before creation, it's for us, it's for you, it's for goodness. He's brought heaven to earth. That's why good isn't good enough anymore. Good is the enemy to his great. He's released eternal revival, and we're all seeing it sweep across the globe. Just imagine the day when we all step out and all this evil doesn't even exist on the face of the earth. Now that's going to be a day to rejoice. Because why? Because he's already provided the provision, all the restoration, going all the way back to Adam, and that's been confirmed by third parties. I mean, I just saw something today. AMG News posted something about the birth certificates being worth billions. Yes, that's what I've said. It's all coming back. But the question is, will you be prepared to go through, to be with us, to be his love? Because the foundation is love, the language is love, the currency is love, and the return is love. And I'm just going to stop right there. Thank you so much for taking time to sharing this great news. Share it, follow, post it, repost it. We have very, very little time left. Now, it's not an obligation that we go out to try to convince people. That's not our job. But God did give us the power to forgive. And Jesus gave us the commandment to love. So with that, I'll see you soon. I'm going to get back on my XRP video. God bless.